What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Movement Mindset powered by Station Athletics. I'm Chris Hardenberg here with Joe Pasalacqua. I don't know what episode we're on, but Brandon's here.
31?
Something like that.
1-3, whatever way you want to read
But we got JJ here. We should introduce JJ. JJ's here. He's our next media specialist man.
Javier. Javi. Goes by JJ.
We have to, and we need to include JJ. Not only is he great, but Brandon's going to be going to
He's moving to the jungle.
his bungalow soon.
He's just taking 2 hammocks, giant leaves, and that's it.
How far are you from the jungle?
He can see it from his
His
gigantic apartment overlooking the jungle.
When we went to Costa Rica for our honeymoon, and we would hear the howler monkeys in the morning instead of birds. So I don't know if sloths make noise though.
No, I don't think they do much anything.
No.
Have you ever seen Ice Age or any of those movies?
I have.
They don't do anything.
Today's topic, guys, is we're going to be talking about BMI. All right. So
yeah, I mean, the misconception, right, is there's BMI, right? And then there is what we use is actual body fat percentage, right? BMI was kind of formatted by, FDA, medical as like the guideline of what you should weigh based on your height, age, and weight.
Yeah.
Right. That's the whole concept.
Yeah.
Right. So why that doesn't work is like Chris ran over some numbers and I'm like almost obese on the numbers.
Yeah.
So this morning I was like 205 pounds.
Yep.
Right. So that puts me in the severe overweight category and almost obese.
Yeah. So when I ran the numbers, I used 200 pounds for Joe. So you at 205, you might teeter into obese. Who knows?
I live it. I'm here for it.
He actually, we were talking about, he came in eating his Uncrustable, just shoveling it into his mouth. So when basically, guys, when to calculate BMI, it looks at, like Joe said, age, height, and weight. It's calculated by dividing a person's weight in kilograms by meters squared. I don't know how
just to simplify it for English.
Yeah.
The BMI stands for body mass index.
Yeah.
Okay. So that just is basically a scale created by medical.
Yeah. That
says this is where you should weigh, and here's the range of what you should weigh.
Right.
Okay. And everyone's gonna be different based on body component.
Right.
So for my height and weight, right, I should theoretically weigh about a perfect index for me is like 155, 157 pounds.
Yes.
Right. Like that's like, for me, that's like really skinny.
That's really skinny.
Right. Like I was 50 pounds ago.
Yeah.
It's a lot of weight, but it doesn't mean that like from a health scenario, like I'm not going to go to a physician and they're like, oh, your BMI is really heavy. You should cut back on weightlifting because you have too much mass. Right. So it's like, it was a scale really designed for them to attack people that are overweight from a fat perspective. Mm-hmm. And they have this sliding scale when we don't even look at the BMI metric.
Well, it's a mess, right? So again, I kind of plugged everything into a calculator using 200 pounds for Joe. His number was 20.
I weighed 205.
I know, today. Right? All right. So 29.5. And then mine was 25.3.
Because Chris weighs 178 pounds.
Yeah, basically, yes. So
it's
lean.
It's his legs.
So basically at those numbers, Joe was, like he mentioned, so there's a scale and it's like, too light, healthy, overweight, obese. And Joe was like deep into the overweight category, almost obese. And I was like firmly overweight. And so obviously that's not the case. And unfortunately, you still have a situation where doctors will still use BMI. And the premise is like, it's a quick and easy way to be like, oh, are you healthy? No, you're overweight. But the problem is, and what we've seen with our program and what we've known for years is like, it still gets used. And I have had, and I don't sell anymore really, but when I would sell, people would still reference BMI in the sales. Oh, my BMI is this. And it's like, guys, we got to move away from
because they even buy scales that only read BMI.
Yeah.
You know, the handle thing that say BMI?
Yes.
It doesn't say body fat percentage, it's BMI.
BMI. And it's a problem because, we'll have people in our program who they're looking to lose weight. Right. And, maybe after a couple of weeks, their weight is the same, but they've lost body fat and built muscle because they've never really weight trained before. It's a body composition change.
It's the rotation. And we talked about this in one of our previous episodes about how what people aren't understanding, especially when they come into our space, that we don't care about what your weight is.
Yeah. We
care about literally the 2 sliding numbers of what your body fat percentage is. We want that to go down, but we want your mass to go up.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I use this as a reference, right? So Joe's 200 pounds. If at 200 pounds, he was 10% body fat, and then same weight was 30% body fat, it's going to look way different, but the weight is still the same.
Yeah.
But on a BMI scale, you're in the same spot, right? Your number's still going to be 29 or 30, right? And so because of that, it puts people in kind of like, if they don't have the knowledge on the difference between BMI and body fat percentage, that they're left thinking like, man, I can't make any progress because it's only weight related. It continues to put people's focus on just weight. When you and I both know it's like, that can't be the only number you look at.
It's just a medical disservice.
Yeah.
That's what BMI should go away from anything health and wellness basis, because it's really like, you're really not diving into it, but this goes into like how like most of these physicians don't educate themselves. And most of them, like, excuse me, let me rephrase that. It's not that they don't educate themselves. They don't do continuous ed on new medicine, and they always prescribe the same things over and over and over again. When in reality, like, you're not a weight loss professional.
Right.
So if you're using a BMI as your baseline, okay, I understand that.
Right.
But you have eyes and you can see that, okay, this person shouldn't be really using a BMI sliding scale.
Right.
Just because someone is 100 pounds overweight, okay, hypothetically, and they lose 50, that weight point might be good for them because you want the visual change to happen.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and the other thing is kind of like you mentioned, they have eyes, right? Like if I have someone who's 100 pounds overweight, do I really need a BMI scale to tell me that they're overweight? They're going to do blood testing too. It's like, hey man, you need to lose some weight. Right. And so that's where it's like, we really, in my opinion, need to get away from the BMI, because it's like, even our in-body scales have BMI on it. Now, I think that's mostly because
I like to use it. When I was selling, I used to like to use it as a comparison.
right.
I'd be like, hey, look, your BMI says that you're actually in a good spectrum, but
Right.
it's not where we want you to be,
Right.
because look at your percentage of body fat.
Yes.
In our opinion, right, the way that we strategically place people on a direction is, if a male, if you are over 20% body fat, okay, there's still some room for you to go down.
Yeah, for sure.
And females, it's, let's just say
it's higher. I think it's like 28, we say.
yeah, let's just say 25 for talking terms, 25 to 30, right?
Yeah.
But even that is on the higher side,
Sure.
right? For like a perfect spectrum, like when we use like, hey, this is a perfect measurement is going to be that your body fat percentage keeps going down, but your muscle tissue, which weighs 40% more,
Yeah.
is going to go up.
Right.
Right. So your body weight could stay the same or increase.
Right.
But for most people, it's a total mind fuck. Again, weight.
Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with it. If you have a 2-pound increase in your muscle tissue and you have a 2% decrease in your body fat, your weight's not going to change.
Yeah. And I mean, any metrics that's going to say that you're overweight or I'm overweight, God forbid what you see like a bodybuilder looks like, they're probably morbidly obese because those guys are friggin' thick. But it's like, again, you have eyes like, do you really think Joe and I are overweight? No. So I wish at some point we would just get away from even reference.
It's just not a relevancy from, and this is why when people measure on the in-body scales, the only things we talk about is we talk about the body fat percentage, the muscle tissue, your actual weight, and then we look at the visceral fat intake on where it's placed. Then it shows you where your body fat is. 95% of people carry all their fat in their midline.
Right.
So from their hips to their chest line, right?
Yep.
Like that's kind of like where it all is. But that's why we leverage those machines, because it's a really easy talking point. When someone brings up BMI, you're just like, no, forget about that.
Yeah.
And this is why.
Yeah.
And we show them on paper, this is why we don't reference this anymore. And we use ourselves as examples all the time.
And it honestly is a great selling point for us and a great conversation point and value add when it's like, it makes us seem like, no, I know your doctor said this, the BMI thing, and yes, you do have weight to lose, but let's look at these numbers. And when you start to explain, it's like, oh, well then why am I even worried about this? It's just, I wish we didn't have so much to overcome when it comes to that. But however, it is important to continue to educate people on, body fat percentage breakdown is the metric you want to look at. That's really it.
Correct. When you look at modern medicine, okay, why has BMI, the perspective of it, changed in the last 70, 80 years? BMI was made originally for like military stats.
Yes,
that was the scale.
Right.
You need to be this BMI to get into the Navy.
And they still use it.
They still use it.
Yeah.
Right? They still use it. So my thing is, if I were to go sign up for the Marines right now, which I would not do. Okay. But what I'm saying is, if I were to go do that, I would be off the spectrum on my BMI chart.
Right.
Okay. Which is kind of irrelevant.
Right.
Because if my strength, my times, and everything else is all relevant, but I fail a BMI, it's kind of rated or like a ridiculous thing if you really think about it like that. So my whole point is, modern medicine has not evolved from that scenario in so long to understand that it's really just your body fat percentage on what your body composition is created of, not a sliding scale of all the categories of your weight, of your body fat, and your mass. Like that's what it needs to go to.
Right.
Not just a sliding scale of everything combined into one.
Yeah, for sure. So guys, hopefully that all makes sense. We wanted to take some time. I knew it wasn't going to be a super long episode. We both knew that. But again, it's come up so often that we thought it was important to kind of address, okay, why BMI is a metric we shouldn't even be looking at and what we're looking at as body fat percentage. So yeah, hopefully that was an episode you were able to gain some knowledge from. As always, guys, like and subscribe to us on YouTube, Instagram. Give us a 5-star rating on your podcast platform, and we'll see you at the gym.
Peace.